baby.
Jesus.
Masti with Satvik Saini is back.
Yes,
A
sir.
long-awaited return. The NBA is back, and the podcast is back as well. And tonight, joining me are my two
Dude.
boys, Addy
Yes, sir.
and David. Both been on the pod before. How you boys doing?
Great. There's nothing better than this, Vic. You know that. You're looking fresh. Got the nice mic stand, looking real official.
Thank you.
Oh
baby.
yeah, nothing
Hey.
like a Tuesday night little ball talk and some whiskey. Sounds like a
Before
good
we-
evening to me.
Now, before we get into it, boys, what are y'all drinking? Tell me.
You go first. You're talking about your whiskey. Probably what
All
is
right,
that?
I got-
$250 bottle of whiskey.
No, I got my throwback Beta Theta Pi whiskey glass from the
Wow.
glory days, and a little bit of Texas distilled Maker's Mark.
Very nice. I'm drinking Longmont's own Wibby Brewing. It's a Radler.
Ooh,
Ooh, those are the best.
Yeah,
Wibby's
it's one of those
nice.
unique ones that's 25% alcohol. So
Nice. Drinking
Yeah.
some lemon water because my body's a temple.
wow. All right. Thanks for shaming
Without-
us.
But without
Sounds good, though.
further ado. All right, Addy, David.
Yeah.
The NBA is back. And first and foremost, I would list off some stats for y'all regarding Kevin Durant. All right, so I did some
Ditto.
research today. The Achilles injury, like notable players who've suffered this Achilles injury and the type of return they've made. All right, so let me walk you guys through some of these players. Dominic Wilkins, Chauncey Billups, KD, we'll talk about him, Brendan Jennings, Rudy Gay, Klay Thompson, Elgin Baylor, DeMarcus Cousins, Wesley Matthews, Patrick Ewing, Jay Wall, Isaiah Thomas, the OG one, Kobe Bryant, Mario Chalmers, God, I hate him, Anderson Varejao, Mohamed Okur, and Elton Brand.
Okay.
Now, of these players, just some mind-blowing statistics. It's a smaller sample size, but bear with me.
Okay.
25% chance of being benched after coming back from a long-term Achilles injury. 25% chance of retiring after the year the injury happens or one season playing. 44% chance of making a decent recovery, but still well below your average production. And then a 6% chance of making a full recovery. The only player from that list was Wilkins, who balled out even better than his
Wow.
pre-injury numbers. So knowing these numbers and knowing these anomalies, tell me what y'all think about Kevin Durant and his return so far in the NBA.
Who's going first?
David, you.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's funny you bring all that up because when Boogie tore his Achilles, what was that 2.5 years ago now, however long ago it was, when he was returning, I was digging into those similar numbers actually because I was just curious as well. And I remember the standout outside of Wilkins was Rudy Gay, was like the only other player that I thought like, oh wow, like it didn't ruin his career, you know? So with KD, I was taking all that into consideration and just thinking there's no way he's coming back as the same player. Like 15 years, not 15 years, but like what, 14, his 14th season in the league this year, coming off an Achilles injury. Like I was very, very, very skeptical. So seeing him ball out is awesome and surprising. And I'm really happy for him.
I agree. Addy, what about you?
I'm going to take a little bit of a counter argument there. While the Achilles injury is totally devastating, KD was, I think he's one of the only people on that list. Like, you saw a bunch of notable names, but KD's in that like next tier, you know. Before he went down, people were saying, oh, he's the best player in the league. He's definitely top two, if not number one, when he's playing out of his mind. I mean, he was carrying Golden State in those finals performances when he was there, and everybody was afraid of him. So although the injury was terrible, I think like I had no doubt that he was going to come back, and pending any medical setbacks, which he hasn't had yet, he was going to be great because he has that killer attitude. And then now he's on his own path, right? Like he won the titles with Golden State, finally got some rings under his belt, and now he's trying to forge his own thing down in Brooklyn. So it's really good to see him back, but I expected him to be hungry, and it's not surprising to see him just digging on everyone already.
Fair enough.
True, dude. I mean, he did ball out, and he's also like 32. So after looking at these numbers, I was like, holy shit, there was a real possibility that we might never see Kevin Durant and his like alien and like talent ever play like at the level he used to be. Because Addy, you make a good point, because before the finals, before that injury, like there was a definitive argument for KD being the best player in the world over LeBron. Like you can make that argument and have a standing chance. But now, like, so now Kevin Durant being back and having that injury and winning those ships with the Warriors, where do y'all think the fans or like people stand with KD's like legacy and like as a player? Do you think it's forgotten that he joined the Warriors? Like kind of like when LeBron came back from Miami, joined the Cavs, or where do we stand with that?
Abby, you can go first.
I've told people this before. I absolutely hated that this guy went from being up 3-1, I think it was the semis then, and then went and joined the best team in the world just to get some rings. Like, I don't
The team he
care that
lost to too.
yeah, exactly. I don't care that he went and like obviously he played better than Steph there in his tenure and he was the finals MVP twice. But man, that really hurt me. I think that he had something going, like him and Westbrook were just kind of starting to really gel and they figured it out. And I don't know, a couple shots here and there and it could have been a completely different outcome. So now for me, now that he's on his own team, I mean he's got Kyrie out there, but he's building his own legacy. He needs to win in the East for that tarnish to go away in my mind. Because otherwise he's still same soft KD.
Yeah, I think like the sour feelings have definitely evaporated a bit, but no one's ever gonna, like, to your point, no one's ever gonna forget what he did. I mean, they're up 3-1 against the Warriors, and then he shit his pants in game 6 and 7. And then he was like, yeah, I'll just go join this team. And like obviously he was the best player on that team. Like nobody's ever gonna deny that. Like nobody's saying like, oh, KD sucks, or that the expectations were that they weren't gonna win. It's fucking KD. Like obviously everybody knew that is what was gonna happen. That's why I was so mad. So I don't think it, like, in terms of like top 15, 10 player of all time, I don't think I'll ever go back on like where KD stands just as a talent. But overall legacy, yeah. I mean, I think he's going to have to win with another team for us to really be like, okay, he did it on his, I guess, quote unquote, own. I don't know, forge his own path, like you were saying. Like, I think no matter what, we're going to have that Warriors move in our minds forever, regardless of how high we held him as like a top 7 player ever when it's all said and done, whatever the case.
True, but I definitely think like the hate for him has definitely died down / because of the injury. And I think people legitimately miss one of the best hoopers to ever walk this planet.
Yeah.
I feel like
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Vic.
No, it feels like because like when LeBron went back to the Cavs and won that ship, like it kind of resetted his legacy in a way that he could win without like joining a super team when it did in Miami. Because I feel like a lot of people were salty about that move too. Not to the extent KD, but in a similar part. So KD kind of has a similar story arc here. But yeah, David, what were you saying?
Well, no, I was just gonna, to your point about the injury, I think that is a really important point to bring up. Like, we're human beings with empathy. I feel like you'd be a real asshole if you like wanted to see KD fail coming off a torn Achilles. Like, he's still a person. Like, you can hate him as much as you want as a player. Like, he's not a bad guy, So of course, I think it's like cool to see him play well, obviously.
So speaking of KD, let's talk about his partner in crime. I saw this tweet the other day, which I thought was spot on. There's nobody in the league that makes the game look easy as KD, and there's nobody in the league that makes the game look as hard as Kyrie. And both of them are teaming up down at the Nets. Give me y'all's thoughts and predictions. Actually, give me your thoughts before the season started, before you saw KD play, and then now. Where do y'all stand? Higher or lower?
I think my expectations are definitely higher now than they were before the season started, just because separate of Kyrie, like I said earlier, I mean, I just didn't think KD was going to come back and be the same player. I still thought he'd be like top 10 player in the league, KD, but I didn't think he would be like pick up right where he left off as like, oh, the best players in the league are like Bron, Kawhi, and KD, like right when he left. That's basically what it was, So yeah, my expectations are way higher now because KD looks exactly the same, which I wasn't expecting. So
I think the gelling of Kyrie and KD was always a question, just because of especially Kyrie's team history as of late and how he's kind of a basket case off the court, to be honest. And to see them like kind of come out and their offenses they look to be gelling together. I mean, in that Celtics game, they blew them out. I think Kyrie had 37, KD had 29 or 30, and they looked like they had no problem passing each other the ball, moving out of the way when the other one wanted to take over. And then I think I was watching ESPN or something, but they're actually like playing some defense too. Like Kyrie's pressuring the ball in the half court right when it comes up. KD's always been pretty defensively sound, and they're showing their net supporting cast that they're there to win. So yeah, like you were saying, David, my expectations are a lot higher now, especially seeing them play for a couple games. So I think I think anything besides a finals performance for them or a finals appearance is a disappointment.
I would agree with that, especially seeing KD the ball. I don't think KD's like back to like that top five. I think he looks like 85% of what he used to be. Like he's slashing hard and shooting up pull-up jumpers, but I kind of want these guys to do well. Like Kyrie's a basket case, but he's a baller. I love watching him play. Like I won't lie, all the sage burning shit and all that, but like whatever, man, he balls out, and I like watching them play.
So
and at this,
to watch.
seriously, like the layup package, come on, who does it better?
Yeah, no, I mean his like understanding of angles is unreal. It's unbelievable. Like he's so fun to watch. That's why it's so frustrating, the type of person that he's been and the effect that he's had on teams recently. I mean, I think part of it that is worth noting is now he's on a team again where he's not the best player, which I think matters for his role, because he just tries to do too much sometimes. He's balling right now, and I'm not saying that he hasn't before, but like there was a stat with the Celtics that the less that he shot the ball, the more that they would win. And, that would, change as the more he shot the ball, the less they would win. So, I mean, I think it's probably good now that he has a little bit of an ego check. Like, okay, KD is obviously better than me. He can do more on the court. So it kind of reduces his role a little bit, which is a good thing for sure.
Dude, that's a good point. Like he's almost like a luxury for the Nets in a way, because like KD is the focal point of the team, and Kyrie tried this whole like be the man of the team kind of deal. Obviously didn't work out. So this way he kind of has to reset. Like I think Addy sent me a conversation where he was talking about posting up, I think multiple times a game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they were on like
nah.
Yeah, they're on like IG Live, I guess. And he was like, yeah, KD, I want 8 posts up a game. And KD's like, well, I don't think it's beneficial for our point guard to be under the basket that much. It kind of hurts the offense. And he's like, oh, okay, maybe not.
Yeah, I do think we got to keep our eye on the chemistry, though. Not to say that they won't gel. I mean, they have been gelling, but like we've seen Kyrie have these great games before, even when he was in Boston, and we viewed that as a whole as dysfunctional, right? But like the season's early, and I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I don't know. I think Kyrie always has the potential to just ruin shit, to put it bluntly.
I honestly think people have been too hard on Kyrie, like in regards to what he does, like off the court stuff. Like honestly, it's like fine, but he has been kind of a locker room cancer, especially with Celtics. So I think this fresh start hopefully helps him, because we only saw him be the man of his team one other time, and he was injured in the playoffs too. But still, some of the things he said, I think he gets too much flack for. He's quickly become one of the most hated athletes, which I thought was interesting in the NBA anyway. Yeah. And I thought their pairing of Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni as assistant coach is great for them offensively. I don't even think they need to play defense at this point. If their offense is clicking like that. Are the Nets y'all's favorites coming out of the East? What is the Eastern Conference Final for y'all?
It's probably Bucks Nets for me. I mean, it's pretty chalk pick, but I don't see I just think that the addition of Drew Holiday woke the Bucks up a little bit, and yeah, they looked kind of up and down. I mean, they got blown out by the Knicks 2 nights ago, and then spanked Miami tonight. So it's kind of tough to get a read on them so far. But I think now that Giannis has signed the Supermax, he's pretty locked in, and if he can be a little more confident in his jump shooting, then they're going to be a tough out. And then I just don't see Miami repeating with that same success. So that with the superpower of the Nets, I'll put it there 1-2 Eastern Conference.
I mean, yeah, I think I agree. I keep going back and forth. I view it as pretty wide open. Like I don't want to sleep on the Heat just because I think Spo's such a good coach. And Jimmy's a dog, obviously, as we know. I mean, they just went to the finals. So I would like to see the Bucks finally break through. I feel like Bud's had his problems with certain coaches in the playoffs. Like Nurse outcoached Budenholzer, I thought Spoelstra definitely outcoached Budenholzer as well. Not to say that blame doesn't fall on Giannis, but like to your point, I think Drew's a nice addition. I mean, they broke the record for most threes made in a game tonight, and Giannis didn't hit any of those. Giannis had like 9 points. So They're deep. I mean, they're really deep. This is the deepest I think they've ever been too. Like with adding like Bryn Forbes and stuff. So yeah, we'll see.
So do you guys think Drew is enough for that push to the championship for the Bucks?
I think it'll be interesting to see how they match up defensively in some of those key matchups. I guess Drew will be on Kyrie, right? And then would Giannis guard KD? And then you kind of have Chris Middleton floating around. So I mean, Middleton was an X factor in who did they play? A couple days ago. But he went off. Oh, they played the Warriors on Christmas. Yeah, he went off for like 31. So I think if Drew can be enough of a distraction for Middleton to get his shots and he's knocking them down, then I think that's going to be pretty important as well.
Yeah, I think Middleton's the X factor. He played really well in that Heat series. That was like the one bright spot for the Bucks. But then the year prior, you're up 2-0 on the Raptors with a chance to go to the finals. And I mean, I put a lot of that on Middleton. I mean, Nurse adjusted nicely in the Raptors. I mean, we're champs. But if you look at some of Middleton's box scores from that series, geez, he was bad. So like, I mean, the consistency with Middleton is huge because he's a great player, obviously, and he's a good compliment to Giannis. It's just, yeah, I don't know.
I also think Drew is like the final push because, dude, watching Bledsoe play, I think he was just so god awful. Like he was athletic, but if you watched him on some plays, he just like had no idea what he was doing without the ball. Like I just wanted the balls out of his hand. Like anytime it was crunch time, I was like, do not give it to Bledsoe. So I think getting rid of Bledsoe was huge for them. And Drew is a baller, dude. Like you've seen, I don't know if you guys listen to JJ Redick's pod at all, but like a bunch of the guards who come on always say Drew Holiday being like the toughest defender for that position.
I mean, yeah, that's like, and that was what Bledsoe was good at too. I feel like Bledsoe was a good defender, but Drew's way better defender and isn't an offensive liability. Like by the time Bledsoe was pretty brutal, like that dude just couldn't play offense anymore.
So I think because the Bucks have been a great regular season team, I think they'll finish 1, and then I think Nets will finish 2. But let's talk about 3 and 4 in the East. Who do y'all got 3 and 4?
3 and 4 in the
There's
East.
the Celtics remaining. There's the Heat.
Heat, Celtics, probably. I feel like that's basic, but I don't really see it any other way. I think the Raptors got slightly worse. Pacers are still hanging around though, and I mean the Sixers too, obviously. Seth Curry was a nice addition for the Sixers. He's been balling out. So I don't know. I mean, the East is deep too. It's a pretty nasty top 6.
Do you guys think the only reason I'm counting out the Celtics, I think JB, JT are amazing, but I think Kemba's knee and the uncertainty around that is the reason I'm going low on them. I think the bubble ending so quickly and them having a deep playoff run and then coming right back to this season hurts Celtics probably the most in the East because of Kemba's injury.
Yeah, he's not back till like January, right?
Yeah, and I think they're just like gelling from that perspective. I think that's going to hurt them. I think Heat proved they were like, I don't know, just Heat. That's one thing, like how David, you were saying, like you're going to go back and forth on. The bubble run was amazing. The Heat are amazing. Like Bam and Jimmy, obviously, and then Duncan, Tyler. I mean, Tyler balled out, but I still don't know if they can take down the Nets or the Bucks or even the Celtics.
I feel like this would be a year that the Bucks would finally push through, like with Drew and everything that we're talking about. Like you'd hope, right, that this would be the year the Bucks would do it, and that would probably stifle the Heat a little bit.
I think if the Heat, if they get through, it's because they just ignited from the 3-point line. I mean, Hero and Robinson are pretty deep, lethal shooters, and then Dragic in his bench role so far has just been like, it's been cool to watch actually how he kind of orchestrates and takes over. So, but yeah, like you said, I think the Bucks, they finally got what they needed. They have no uncertainty with Giannis anymore. They got one more piece, and they're going to be pretty locked in. It's going to be a tough out for sure.
Yeah,
I like
I'm with that. I'm with that all the way, honestly. Yeah.
What about the Sixers? Do you guys think? I think Doc's overrated, but what do y'all think about Sixers adding Doc and keeping that core group of Simmons and Embiid?
While Doc is overrated, because I totally agree, not just because of last year's playoffs. I mean, I agreed before that, but he's a way better coach than Brett Brown. So it's still an upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know. I feel like a lot of us are probably sleeping on the Sixers, and for fair reason. I still don't think that Embiid and Simmons is the right match. I mean, we keep talking about the process. The process is over, right? Like, I still think that I would have liked to see some type of package for Harden. I would have loved to see Harden and Embiid play together. I don't know if they're still going to try to do that. I mean, Daryl Morey is the GM now. I'm sure he would love to bring over Harden. I know it's more complicated than that, but I don't know. I just feel like Simmons and Embiid isn't the answer.
Dude, would Morey want to bring him though? I feel like Morey has had it with Harden. I don't think he wants to do the whole thing again.
I don't know. Maybe they're bros. Who knows? Maybe they go out to strip clubs together.
I could see that.
Yeah, Morey doesn't strike me as a strip club man, but who knows? But the thing is, I think if somebody can pull this team out of their chemistry issues, and like they do have some shooting around them. Seth Curry and Doc are kind of close. Isn't
True.
Seth? Isn't Doc's daughter married to Seth? Or is that just a rumor? I heard
Wait, is
something
that
like
true?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
And that's
What
PG's
about-
ex too.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Isn't that PG's ex? Man, no
Yeah, they
wonder
got some
Doc
family
hated
drama.
PG. Dude, PG.
So hopefully, I mean, Simmons and Embiid are talented and entertaining.
I don't know, man. When you dare Simmons to shoot in the half court in the playoffs, and you can back off of him 8-10 feet and basically help on the next guy on defense, it just puts too much pressure on Embiid. And with Embiid's injury history, I need to see them do it first. Like they need to. I guess they were one shot away from making the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of years ago, but I don't know. I have my doubts about them.
One I think it's worth noting with that too is that Jimmy Butler was on that team, and Jimmy Butler was like the heart and soul of that team. I don't think enough
That's
people
true.
really gave him the credit for that, because it was always like Embiid's team and Simmons' team, and then Butler just kind of showed up. But like he was the most consistent in that playoff series, and like without him,
Dude, I don't think he was the heart and soul of that team. Jimmy B, dude, Jimmy? He literally, yeah, Jimmy talked about it. He's like, when he got traded from Minnesota, this was coming off of his like, I think Jimmy B was regarded as a Kyrie around that time. He was like locker room cancer. Any team he goes, he destroys whatever. And he came to Sixers. He was talking to JJ Redick, and he's like, they had a filming session where nobody spoke, and Jimmy was just like, this is terrible. Like he didn't mesh with any of the guys. That's what he was saying on like Redick's pod. That's what I heard.
well, that's why he left. But my point, sorry, with heart and soul, I guess I phrased that wrong. I just meant in the playoffs, like he was the physical like heartbeat on the floor of that team. Like without Jimmy, I maybe cog is a better word. Like he was the cog of that team. Like I thought in the playoffs he made them go. Like Embiid was inconsistent, Simmons was inconsistent, but I thought the one, staple of at least in the playoffs from what I saw on the floor was just Jimmy's play. But like I totally get what you're saying. I mean, he didn't gel with that team. That's why he left. But yeah, I don't know. That was just kind of my takeaway from like what I saw.
Okay. Cool. So before we move on to the Western Conference, Addy, who in the East has the most pressure to come through this year?
Most pressure, it's on Giannis, man. He took a gamble, which I'm glad he took, where he stuck with the small market team. He trusts his GM. He coaches the same. And now he's the 2-time MVP, DPOY. Everything's around him. The pressure's on him to perform now. I think there's less pressure on KD because of the injury and the new team and everything. Kyrie, I think the expectations are just out the window. Nobody gives a shit about him, so it's not there. Jimmy already kind of proved himself last year by taking that team to the ECF. So now it's all on Giannis. He keeps talking. I guess he's not too much of a talker, but he thinks that he can win in Milwaukee, and people want to see the MVP perform, because honestly, I don't know. Sometimes I think I see him and I'm like, dude, how did he win this? Like, what the hell? What is he doing?
I don't got a lot to add. I think you hit it all in the head. I mean, I totally agree. It's got to be on Giannis at this point. I mean, he still has plenty of time to prove himself. But I mean, they added Drew for a reason. They're going all in. I mean, yeah, he signed the extension. Like, you got to get it done eventually, right? And yeah, back-to-back MVP for sure. I think the expectations are through the roof.
I mostly agree with that. What about like playing devil's advocate though? What about you said also, Addy, why do you hate Kyrie so much now, dude? You used to love him back in the day, bro.
Dude, I just think I just seeing him tear up the Celtics and then move to the Nets, and like even Like any turbulent water that Kyrie goes through, I'm just worried is going to turn into a hurricane, because you never know when Kyrie's going to be unhappy and throw an absolute bitch fit and blow everything up.
It's true, though.
And I hate all of his comments about like LeBron. He's like, oh, now I finally have a closer on my team. Bitch, LeBron is a better closer than KD statistically, and you're acting as if you carried him. I mean, sure, he made the shot and everything, and he was great in that final series, but he's not getting anywhere without LBJ being there. And I think he's become a little arrogant because of that. And then I hope that being with KD humbles him, and I'd like to see him succeed. But he's a diva.
Yeah.
He's a diva.
Dude, but about that comment about LeBron, is it really that wild to say that dude, think about the perspective he's coming from. He's trying to hype up his teammate. And KD, like, is it that blasphemous to say KD might be a better closer than LeBron? I know the stats point otherwise, but it's not like a ridiculous. He's not saying fucking Mo Harkless is a better closer than LeBron. It's KD and LeBron, right?
I just feel like the way he said it was like, "Oh, I'm finally with another player that can do that." It's like, what do you played with one of the best players in NBA history, arguably the best. We're not going to get into that, but like top two, however you want to spin it. Like that dude was on losing Cavaliers teams. They were trash, and then LeBron comes back and takes them to the finals. Like you can't talk shit about LeBron. I don't know. I just felt I agree. I think Kyrie's annoying. But
see, if that quote is taken out of context, but LeBron read the transcript, like I don't think Kyrie, like I'm not defending Kyrie here. I just think LeBron was a little soft with that because Kyrie said the best closer. And I think he was coming. Yeah, I think he was just trying to irk LeBron a little bit. I don't think he said the best player he's ever played with. If he said that, that would have been a different discussion.
Didn't he say like he finally playing with a closer? He didn't even say the best. He said he like as if he's
right. That's
as if he's played with like Mo Harkless before as his best teammate. You know, like
that's how I took it too. Was it kind of made it sound like it was like, okay, finally he's playing with a player who can show up in the clutch. Like, wow, he's never done that before.
Yeah, that was my thing. I think he could have said it a little more gracefully. And sure, he's hyping up KD or whatever because they're on a new team, but he could have handled that better.
Yeah, I didn't take that too seriously. I just thought LeBron being butthurt over that after reading the transcript was just like a little soft. I was like, dude, he's just trying to take a little shot. Like he's trying to hype up his teammate. I would do the same thing. If Addy, you and I were playing against David, I'd be like, yo, Addy, you're fucking way better than David. Let's go shoot some buckets.
No, I get what you mean. I totally get what you mean. It's just like, I don't know. I guess we read into it too much. I mean, we do overanalyze everything that Kyrie says. I just think he says a lot of really dumb things. So he just rubs me the wrong way. He always has. But it's fun to watch. Hell of a player. I'll never doubt that.
But on that regard, do you guys think? I think Kyrie has a lot of like pressure to live up to this year because if he fails with the Nets with KD, I think his stock just plummets. Because Celtics, yeah, he tried his own thing. He made it work with LeBron and got that ship. But I think he has a lot of pressure this year. Him being the locker room cancer because KD's coming back. It's his team, and he's got to be the glue in a way. So I feel like there's a lot of pressure on him along with Giannis.
I see it both ways with Kyrie. Like I totally understand what Addy was saying with like, I've already come to this conclusion that Kyrie is like this locker room cancer and that you can't win with him. And it's just like, well, what expectations does he even have? But then on the flip side, I totally agree with that. Like, especially the way the year started. I mean, Kyrie's balling, KD's back. KD could win MVP. Like, yeah, if the Nets don't succeed, then it's like, well, who is Kyrie going to win with? Is the only player he could win with LeBron? Anyone can win with LeBron. It's LeBron. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a solid deal of pressure on Kyrie.
It'll be a fun East this year. Honestly, the East has looked better than years, and I think it's way more balanced out, which I like. So thank God KD and Kyrie are playing out there.
I know, before it's just a dumpster fire.
Well, we had LeBronto back in the day, most disrespectful name of all time.
That was the best.
I think
LeBron was flicking. Go ahead, David.
I was just going to say, I think we all need to recognize the fact that LeBron has played in the finals more than 50% of his career. I still can't. That's ridiculous. Like, I just think the Lakers are such a lock this year. Maybe they're not like inevitable the way that the Warriors were, like with KD, but I don't know. I just feel like oh, the league's so balanced. Finally, we have some parity, and it really feels that way. And then I just look at the Lakers. I'm like, that team is unreal. How are they not going to go back to back? I don't know.
Yeah,
True.
their
Who did they?
offseason was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, Rondo, I'm the biggest fan of Rondo, but Schroeder is just such an upgrade with his playmaking.
Yeah.
Like, it's unreal. And they
100%.
stole him for what? Danny Green's contract and a second-round pick. I mean, that was just highway robbery, honestly.
Danny Green was shooting like 20% from three in the finals. That's literally why they brought him there, was to be like the sharpshooter, and he was trash.
Dude, Danny Green slander is so funny. Like, you guys seen that Supreme Dreams video of him like waking up Danny Green in the middle of the night? It's just hilarious. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel okay with it too, because he's a 3-time NBA champion now. So it's like,
Yeah,
he's put in
dude.
his work. It's
Yeah.
all good.
I mean, he's a great shooter, like great player, but come on, man. Some of those like wide open shots that I saw, like if I was that wide open, even I could hit it. Come on.
He's also always trending on Twitter. Like, he's always just trending on Twitter, which has been a meme at this point, but I love it.
What was it that Rob Perez on Twitter said? I wonder how long it's going to take Danny Green to start trending on Twitter, and then like 5 minutes later, he's like the number 2 trending guy on Twitter.
Dude, Rob Perez is the best NBA account. Just top-notch content.
For real.
Shout out to him and Supreme Dreams. What a great plug, dude. Most funny ass videos. But talking about the Lakers, they added who? Harrell, Schroeder, Wes Matthews. Yeah, dude,
Wes
like
Matthews,
on paper.
Wes Matthews is also just like an exact replacement of Danny Green. Like, it feels low key, but their stats last year were like identical. Like,
Oh.
Yeah, they got him on
and probably upgraded. Lost Dwight, replaced him with Trez. Trez is better. Like, sorry, go ahead.
And they got Gasol.
Oh, Gasol too. Yeah,
true. Do I think Trez is kind of overrated? I really don't like the fact that he joined the Lakers, to be honest. It just really makes me mad. He was the one talking so much noise last year, and he joins the freaking team he was talking all the smack to.
Yeah, him and Pat Bev were like leading the charge, and Lou were like leading the charge for the trash talking, and Trez flip sides. Yeah, he didn't play well against the Nuggets too.
I just think it shows like how broken that Clippers locker room was at the end of that year, though.
That's true.
Because like all that stuff came out over the summer about how like Kawhi and like player entitlement, and how he like lives in San Diego and like shows up late to team flights, and how everything was built around Kawhi and PG, and then they kind of fell apart in the end. I mean, Nuggets won. Don't get me wrong. We won that, but I mean they definitely played subpar in those last couple games, and after getting all that preferential treatment, all the bench guys were like, well, what the fuck? Like, we're actually playing better than them, and we have to do everything regularly. So, I mean, yeah, Vic, you're right. I mean, to go to a crosstown rival after having a big mouth is a low move for sure, but I think it kind of gives you a glimpse as to what was actually going on in the Clippers org.
I think that's a really good way to look at it. I would agree with that.
So Lakers, like, obviously on paper favorite, and LeBron, like, this will be the year for his redemption to get possibly 5th. I think they have turned into like the favorites, hence they'll probably be the villain of the season. But dude, talking about that point you just mentioned, like, how would you feel if you're one of the bench guys and like the star players were getting preferential treatment? What's your take on that?
Dude, I have no problem if I'm a bench guy, the star players are getting preferential treatment and they're balling out, and we know that we need them to win. But when you're fucking pandemic P and shooting shots off the backboard and then talking to the whole league like you're the best, like, come on, bro. Of course people are gonna be pissed off. Like, I hate that. Like, even when you're balling at the gym, when this guy like playing in a rec league and he's like talking shit to you and he's like bricking shots and he's like leaving you wide open and you're making them on him, and you're like, dude, come on. Like, I respect you if you're an actual baller, but if you're not, then you don't have room to behave like that.
Right. It's like Kawhi and PG, I think, earned that right to get said preferential treatment. Yeah. That said, they combined for 5 points in the fourth quarter of a Game 7 with a trip to the Western Conference Finals on the line. Like, that is embarrassing. That's so bad. So I can understand the being disgruntled over that. That makes a ton of sense because it's like they were supposed to take you to the promised land. Like they were supposed to put you over the top, and you only made it one round further than you did the year before without them. So it's like,
No, I see where you're all coming from. I just don't think the Clippers were like the locker room stuff. I don't think it was as bad as it was made out to be. And I think they honestly will have lower expectations this year because Kawhi, coming from his Toronto run, like I was overrating him. Honestly, I was like,
yeah,
damn, he's like LeBron level led Toronto. Like the talk was like, yo, Kawhi's a favorite. He can take the Clippers to his third championship and they'll be tied with LeBron. That was the conversation coming into the playoff postseason.
that's true. That's very
I think
true.
all that's reset. So I think Clippers, and I think Kawhi does better when all lights, like all the spotlight isn't on him. And this year the Lakers have all the spotlight. So I think the Clippers will actually be better this year.
I mean, I'd agree with that too. I think that's probably true. But that said, they still have Paul George, and like, man, I used to love Paul George, like when he was on Indiana. But the dude is, I mean, who am I to say this? But he just like for NBA standards just feels like a loser, like truly. Like I don't think he's as bad in the playoffs as like
As people make him out to
Twitter
be.
or like memes make him out to be. Like
Yeah.
he's not that bad, but like, I mean, when it matters and the lights turn on, ever since he left Indiana, because he was great in the playoffs with Indiana, and that's why he earned the nickname Playoff P or whatever. But like
Yeah.
since then, I mean, so hard for me to envision winning with that guy. Like all he has are excuses at every turn.
Yeah, he came. I mean, I think it was his second season in OKC before his shoulder injury, where he was playing. I think he was third in MVP voting, and he was really, just really balling out. And I think people were pumped to have the old Paul George back. But yeah, I'm with you, David. He's full of excuses, and he's got to show up because they just paid him too. They just committed to him.
That's true. Clipper for life, baby.
Yeah.
But dude, speaking of that point, like shoulder surgeries, like before that, he was basically third in the voting. Isn't that crazy? Like he's only had 2 seasons since those shoulder surgeries. Is that right? That last season with OKC and then last year.
Wasn't when he was third in MVP voting? Wasn't that his last year with OKC? Like you talking about that year? Because that was when he was third, like in the 2018-19 season, right?
I don't remember which year it was. Here, let me do some quick Googling.
I feel like it was, and that was the year that they lost in 5 to the Blazers, and Dame dotted his eye to send him home.
Was that the bye-bye shot?
It?
I think that was the same year that he was third in MVP voting.
Oh, I thought it was his first season there. That's where he got playoff P, and then next season it was his shoulder problems, and that's where Dame sent him home.
Okay, so this was posted June 4th, 2019. So I think you're right, David. It was his last season in OKC.
So it's like you go from being like an MVP candidate to losing in 5 games to like Dame sending you home like that and then saying that's a bad shot and then leaving.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're totally right.
Oh,
yeah,
actually,
dude, I forgot about that. I forgot about that meltdown. Right. And him saying it was a bad shot after he just drained it in his face. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
That was the demise. That was the demise of PG in media. So for the Clippers, what are y'all's takes for them? Who has more pressure, Kawhi or PG? And where do you think they finish this season?
PG more pressure. I still think they finish second in the West. And I honestly, if they played the Nuggets in the playoffs again, I think the Nuggets would beat them, if I'm being honest.
Really?
Yeah. But I'm also a Nuggets fan, so that might be a little biased. What do you guys think?
How'd he go?
I think like regular season, maybe third or fourth in the West. I think they'll have like their creative load management or whatever and take a few games off. And then, I think it'll be Lakers, Nuggets, Lakers, Clippers in the Western Conference Finals. I don't know, man. I need to see the Nuggets defensive prowess like increase for us to have a chance. I think we really benefited from the bubble in some ways because one, Jamal was on a blowtorch, and we're gonna need that back if we're gonna have a chance. And we're all locked in. But it's a different situation to go to LA and play Game 7 and win there, and especially if fans are back, it's a hostile environment. So I think we might struggle a little bit with that. But who knows if we can turn it on? I just think that we're gonna have a tough time defending Kawhi and PG.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, we took a huge step back. I would agree with that. I just think it's like more of a problem against the Lakers, just with their size. Um, but no, I do agree. I mean, we look horribly defensively right now. So yeah, I think we probably would lose to the Clippers if if that continues.
Same, and Addy made a good point saying, like, I think the bubble really helped the Nuggets out more than, I mean, if thinking about it, we were one buzzer beater away from the Nuggets walking home and having an entirely different conversation after the bubble
That
ended.
is a really, really good point. That's
If
true.
that shot by Mike Conley went in, we'd be having, I think the conversation of Mike Malone as a coach and the Nuggets overall went from like, fire this guy sucks, can't use him, to the Nuggets are ballers over the bubble, which was a great transformation. I loved it. Like, Jamal Murray's PER in the postseason was insane. And if we can have that, like, they definitely proved themselves as a dynamic duo, but I still think with all that traveling and home court advantage shit, I don't know if we'll have fans by the playoffs. Hopefully we do. I think it would, I still got to take the Clippers. What about the Clippers against the Lakers though? Do y'all think there's any legitimate chance Clippers have?
Lakers. No.
Give me a percentage chance.
20.
Yeah, like
20?
20, 30, 20, 30. I don't know. This Lakers team is good. How do you, I mean, I don't understand how you guard that team. I don't see how anybody can guard that team. If you couldn't guard them last year, how are you guarding them this year?
Yeah, they just added more weapons. Their bench is stronger. I
Yeah.
think the game changer with this Lakers LeBron team is that, dude, LeBron just like plays the PG and he orchestrates the whole game, right? Like he brings the ball up, he makes these insane passes, creates for everyone, and now he has another offensive weapon in Schroeder who can get his own shot.
Mhm.
AD is just going off. And I think those three with their supporting cast is just going to be really difficult to beat.
Yeah, yeah, and it's LeBron.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
LeBron doesn't score 5 in the fourth quarter, man. If he wants to take over the game, he will, whether it's with his passing or his scoring. Like he will get people open at the very minimum and he will take the game over.
Yeah.
he LeBron is aging though. Do you guys think there's like a notion of just let give the keys to AD kind of deal this year and like coast kind of all the way to like maybe the Western Conference Finals and then like pull out LeBron mode?
But that's what's ridiculous. Yeah, is he can do that, and like it doesn't even matter because then when the playoffs roll around to Western Conference Finals or Finals, like he can just be LeBron again, and then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think David hit it spot on. He's in the perfect situation to maybe coast in the regular season a little bit. I don't think he'll coast at all in the playoffs just because he turns it on, but it's a luxury for him to have somebody in his prime who's as good as Anthony Davis. And LeBron takes the best care of his body in the whole league, so he's going to do everything he can to keep playing. So I don't think there's going to be too much of a slowdown.
Father time, yeah. Hopefully, we'll see. I just kind of low key bothers me if he could easily coast to a championship, though. Like, that
But
would
also,
annoy
we
me.
say that it's. I also do think, in some ways, too, we view it as like coasting part of it because LeBron is there. Like, if you just fully took LeBron off that team, I don't think they're winning the finals. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
LeBron's the best
yeah.
player in the world. Like, that wasn't like a
Mhm.
deep statement, but like, you know what I mean? It's like we say, like, oh, he's coasting, like, oh, he's coasting to the finals. There's a difference between coasting and being carried. He's has the luxury to coast because he's LeBron. Like, yeah, he's on a good team and playing with AD is amazing, but at the same time, like, coasting for LeBron is putting up 27 and 7, and we're all like, oh wow, has LeBron lost a step? It's like if anyone else did that, you'd be like,
Yeah.
wow, this person's a future MVP.
No, seriously, that's a completely right take. Like his coasting is going out for 25 minutes a game and totally balling up, and then he
Right.
gets the rest the last 17 minutes. Oh, because they're up by 30. Yeah, he's coasting for sure.
Right. 100%.
It is incredible. I'm not like I feel like you guys are probably more LeBron stands than I am. Or correct me if I'm wrong, but like I with this season in the Lakers team, I'm like I haven't decided yet if I'm rooting for them or against them. I still want to see
Well,
how
I
the
mean,
season
if
plays
you're a
out.
Nuggets fan, you got to be rooting against them. Come on.
Oh, for sure. But I'm saying overall, like Nuggets
Yeah,
aside,
no, I get what you're
like
saying.
LeBron, do I want him? Because then, I mean, if he does win this, then we're talking about 5 rings, and then we're a real possibility of him going for his 6th and a possible 3-peat, which would be very interesting.
No, yeah,
Pretty
I'm gonna
well.
be a Nuggets fan. Hopefully, we win it all. That'd be sick. I'd be ecstatic. But in the case that they are out and the Lakers are still in, I don't care if it's a LeBron versus the Bucks and Giannis is getting his first ring. I would prefer LeBron to win there.
Wait,
Yeah,
really
if
over
everybody wants to
Giannis's first
use
ring?
Yeah,
Oh no,
LeBron's window
dude.
is closing though. Giannis's window. I mean, Giannis is what 26.
Oh, so you
Yep.
guys would rather wait? Do you guys want as LeBron stands? Do you guys want him to catch 6?
I I mean, would hate to see the Lakers win again. That would be painful. But also, like, if everyone wants to keep using rings as the reason why that Jordan's better, than I want LeBron to get 9 rings. Like, you know what I mean?
Yep.
No, it's fair. I honestly think Clippers have a decent chance at actually making a deep run and making the finals. That might be a bad take now, but like I honestly think them under without as much pressure, and I think PG's looking much better coming off his shoulder surgeries. Besides that freaking halftime 51-point deficit to the Mavs, obviously. But
Holy cow! I mean, yeah. It's also game 3 of the season, so I guess who really
yeah,
cares? But that was hilarious.
I still think Kawhi and PG can turn it around. It's still one of the best duos in the league.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when PG's balling, like he can play like a legitimate like top 8 player in the league. It's just all the visions of him choking when it matters is like what sticks with you. But like, yeah, at his best, I mean, the dude is so good at basketball. Like,
All right, we talked about the Lakers. We got the Nuggets. We got the Clips. What about the Mavs? Luka Doncic. Give me the takes.
how do you
Where
go?
they're finishing?
Mavs. So I think I saw a report today that Kristaps is on his way back. He was full contact in practice. So that's good to
dude.
hear. Let's see. So if the Lakers are first, Nuggets are second, Clippers third. I think the Mavs could come in right there at 4. I think Luka's talented enough. KP can do enough, but I don't really know too much about this Mavs team. I mean, they took the Clippers to 4-2 last year in the first round, and they look electric when Luka is firing. But I think barring any possible injury or hiccup to either of those guys, completely cripples the Mavs because I don't even know who else is on there.
They're streaky. They're real streaky. Like, I mean, the fact that the supporting cast is like Finney Smith and Tim Hardaway and like Maxi Kleber. Like, I mean, when they're balling, they can hoop for sure, obviously. But like, I mean, they lost Seth too, which I think is important. He was really their only like consistent shooter outside of Luka. And then I always think KP's health, like you were saying, like it's not reliable by any means at all. And Luka's a god, but I don't know. I don't know if that team is consistent enough to really make that much of a statement in the postseason outside of how good Luka will be.
Are you guys? I just feel like they didn't do anything considerable this postseason. Like, did they get better? I feel like they just flatlined. Like, did nothing from last season coming into this season.
I'm trying to think, who did
moves.
did they add anybody? I'm blanking. They had to have done something, right?
I just don't think it was that considerable. Also, I'm so tired of waiting on KP. Like KP is one of he's turned into like the Embiid.
Oh, they got to interject. They got Josh Richardson. That's right. They did something.
I feel like Richardson's not bad.
No, he's nice. That's a nice ad. I totally forgot that they did that. Actually, that's solid.
Do you think he replaces Seth Curry's output?
No, he's not as good of a shooter.
But like back on KP, like that, like you're like the if around KP is like Embiid's. If when he's balling, he's like looking like KD out there, but the if around him is just too much. I think they finished like, I've honestly finished like, I'd be surprised if they finish higher than 6 this year in the regular season standings, even with Luka putting up MVP numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just works under the assumption that KP is going to miss some games, which he will. Mm-hmm. I think that's fair. I mean, the Jazz are still there.
Dude, Jazz are good.
And I don't know what will happen with the Rockets, but like Harden's capable of anything, obviously. I mean, he'll probably get traded, but if he doesn't, then yeah.
Before we dive into Harden and the Rockets, why'd you make a face at Jazz? Jazz are good, dude.
Dude, the Jazz are
he
garbage.
made a face of the Jazz.
I think Rudy Gobert is so overrated, and Donovan Mitchell's a superstar, but there were some fit problems when Conley wasn't shooting the ball last year. There were issues. There were issues with that acquisition. They went out and got Mike Conley, and they were worried about it. And yeah, I guess they almost beat us, but I think they're overrated.
Dude, they almost beat us without Bogdanovich.
That's what I will say. Bogdanovich coming back is nice. I will say. I think that if they can have him in the postseason, but I do agree. Gobert's annoying. I think Gobert is he's good, but like.
Why do you guys think he's overrated?
I don't know. He had that. He was DPOY. 2 years ago now?
Yeah.
First, I guess I hated how he handled his coronavirus situation. I'll go there.
Well,
and then I don't know. I just don't like watching him on the court. I don't like his demeanor. I think he thinks he's too sick.
Yeah,
but that doesn't make him overrated, though.
I don't think you not liking. I don't think Gobert's overrated.
He's getting paid like he's like the top.
Well,
center
that's
in the
true.
league.
Actually, contract-wise, he probably is. I just feel like discourse across media or the league, whatever, feels like he's not overrated. But contract-wise, I mean, yeah, what didn't they just max him?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's a lot to. When I think of if you're gonna max a guy, you better be able to run the offense through him, and I feel like Rudy Gobert is the third option there.
Yeah, I think he's amazing defensively, but
yeah,
he's limited offensively, obviously. Also, I think the point about personnel-wise, the Jazz are nice, and I think Snyder's a really good coach, so I do think that they have the easy potential to finish top 4 in the West. But the problem is that Mitchell is a superstar when the ball's in his hands, and Conley is viewed as this true point guard, which he is. I mean, I love Mike Conley, but he can't be their point guard and have them. Mitchell is too good a point guard for that to work.
Wait, you cut out a little there. Say that again.
Sorry. I was basically my whole point was just that Donovan Mitchell is too good as a point guard to have Mike Conley be bringing up the ball. I like Mike Conley a lot, but just the pairing with Mitchell, it takes away what your team is best at, is just Mitchell, ball in his hands, running it like a point guard, just doing his thing. It was so proven in the Nuggets series. Conley comes back and I don't know. It just kind of limits their chemistry a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah, that's where I think personnel-wise, with the run they had last year and with Bogdanovich coming back, I think they'll finish top 4 this year.
I think so.
But I see what you're saying. Because it's kind of the same situation down in Phoenix. We got Book, who's a baller with a ball in his hands, and now we'll have to share the load with CP3. So maybe allows him to grow as a player. Maybe Mitch can do the same thing, D-Mitch, as Mike Conley, because Mike Conley's a tenured guy. But yeah, they did have some fit issues, but we'll see. Yeah. I just think they really impressed me last year in the bubble.
Yeah.
Dude. Ooh, what about the Blazers? Dame and McCollum.
Dude, Rudy Gobert's career averages are 11 and 11. Come on, man. That's
dude,
bad.
Dude, honestly, he's one of those guys who provides more value than the numbers show. Kind of dudes. You can't look at him and be like, yo, his points per game. He's not going to put up 80 type of numbers. He has a certain role and he plays that well. I don't know if that guarantees max type of money, but he fits very well in the Utah system.
I agree with that.
I'll agree with that, but I am looking forward to watching the Jazz crash and burn because I think they will.
Oh, dude, I don't like Gobert. Gobert is a clown. Seeing him fail is funny. I genuinely mean that. Donovan Mitchell's a baller. I love Donovan Mitchell, but no, knocking Gobert to the playoffs was great feeling.
True. I would like to stick it up to the Jazz, but that's just me, the practical me talking, I'd like to put my emotions aside of my love for the Nuggets.
Yeah, right. For sure.
All right, dude. Talk about the Blazers. Dame time and CJ.
Blazers could finish top 5. I mean,
dude, no.
That's probably what you said 2 years ago when they went back-to-back 3 seeds, made the Western Conference Finals. Was it not, Vic?
I just feel like how long are we gonna wait for Dame Time and CJ to ball out in the playoffs and actually show us something?
Fair. That's fair. Hey, CJ's balled out in the playoffs, in that Nuggets series, because we put all of our resources at Dame in 2019, and CJ balled.
I just feel like a duo they're just too small.
Well, yeah,
You-
they need a wing. KD should have went there, man.
to the blade. Whoa, that would have been interesting.
Or Giannis. How fun would have that been?
Nah, I like the fact that Giannis stayed true to the
Well,
loyal
no,
NBA.
me too. It'd just be fun if he played with Dame.
What are your thoughts, Addy? You like Dame?
I'm with you, dude. I mean, I love Dame, but I think the Blazers they're overrated, and they're gonna get wrecked.
Man, you guys are hating on Dame and CJ. What? CJ gives you 44 points, and this is
Dude.
how you treat him?
He didn't
Okay.
44 points against the Rockets, who are playing with like
I don't
James
care.
Harden
I
and
don't
some
care.
backyard boys from the D League.
No.
Yo, Christian Wood's a baller, dude. Don't hate on Christian Wood. He's on my fantasy basketball team. He's giving me some points.
He's looking nice this year.
Can
No,
I
just
say that I've never heard of who the fuck Christian Wood is until now?
dude,
And everyone's like, "Oh my
that's
god,
not-
Christian Wood is the best free agent ever. Rockets got Christian Wood. It's such a steal. Who the fuck is Christian Wood?"
Because he was on the Pistons last year.
You blame him. Detroit, dude, fucking trash. But he's been on a bunch of teams. I actually looked at his.
That's
I looked
true.
at it.
He has.
I looked at his history and like his tenure. Like he just didn't have the chance, I guess. But the hype around him, I was like, yeah, what the hell? Who the hell is this guy? But dude, he can ball. Did you watch him play? He's putting up
I mean,
numbers.
he looked decent, but I just don't think he garners like the. He had like some serious free agent hype. Like people are like, "Oh my god, every team should go after Christian Wood. There's a missing piece," and I'm like, "Oh my, just stop."
Dude, I think it was just people that the Rockets got him for so cheap.
Like
Was the thing I think.
So cheap, yeah. No, it's a great contract. I mean, I don't think Christian Wood puts the Rockets over the top. I've talked to some people who act like that's what's going to do it, and like, I mean, I think he pairs well with Harden. I do think that, and Wood has a nice skill set for sure. That said, I still just don't think the Rockets are anything. So like getting him just like doesn't really matter to me that much. Still just
Speaking of the
Harden show.
Rockets,
I'm probably gonna leave.
Talk to me about James Harden, baby.
That dude tried to give his whole team COVID, so they didn't have to play. I mean, holy shit.
What about have you guys read the article where that came out and that talked about James Harden and how he ran the show and some of the complaints with him? Basically, some of the preferential treatment some of the boys down in Clippers got, in a way.
I just think James Harden, like, he's a baller. He's good. He can create his own offense.
He's great.
He's an amazing player, but he's got nothing to show for it. He's got nothing to show for it.
Dude, I disagree with that. You don't
Why?
think, dude, him and CP3 were so close to beating the Warriors, dude. I think people forget that. Do you know how close they
what
were?
happened then? Yeah, and then James Harden scored like 5 points in the second half and ran an offense that just hucked up threes, and they missed 22 straight and lost.
Okay, that's very fair. But they also did come back from 3-1 against the Clippers. I feel like that era, the Morey Harden era, like they threw the kitchen sink at the Warriors, and dude, they were that close to beating the Warriors with KD. Think about what was the biggest matchup we looked forward to every single year. It was the Rockets and the Warriors, dude.
That's true. No, I mean,
CP3 doesn't get injured. I don't like to get into ifs and whatever, but if CP3 was not injured, they win that.
I do agree with that. And then they win the finals because that Cavs team was trash outside of Braun, obviously. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I'm weird with Harden because I'm not a Harden fan by any means, but I also think that he's going to go down as like one of the most underrated players ever because he's so talented. Like, have we seen anybody really that can truly like just raw score the way that he can? Like, that dude gets buckets. He's one of the best scorers in NBA history, truly.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I mean, I think I know what you mean though, Eddie. Like, what does he have to show for it?
I also hate watching him.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like
That's fair.
when he's like hitting step back threes and stuff, that's like sick, obviously. And when he's passing, that's dope. But I feel like I'm watching a free throw contest. Like some of his how he flops and like draws fouls, and it's just so annoying. And then like the
So
disrespect,
rare.
like Vic, you want to talk about like the player empowerment era? Nobody is cockier than James Harden, dude. He is
That's
out in the middle of a global pandemic where the NBA is trying to be this clean room basically, and he's going to all these parties and strip clubs and oh yeah, my personal trainers are in Atlanta and Vegas. Yeah, my ass, dude. Like, come on.
No, the
Dude.
dude does not give a shit. He just wants to party. He doesn't want to play if he doesn't need. But that's also what's amazing though, is like he's a jackass, but then he can do that. Clearly hasn't been practicing training at all, and then hops off his couch and gives you 35 and 15. Like,
Dude, he looks in
Impressive.
worse shape
It's
than like some of my friends. He looks literally freaking 20 pounds overpaid.
for an NBA
Overweight.
player, he looks horrible. Yeah.
Does he not? Like he just looks so
Yeah, he
thick.
does.
And he still put up 40. But no, I think that criticism is definitely fair regarding his player empowerment. And I think Houston should like tell him to fuck off and not trade him.
Yeah, I mean, I think it
make him
would
suffer his
be
prime.
It'd be a statement to not trade him because he very, very clearly wants to leave. Even when he's playing well, and even when Christian Wood is showing all these pops, like he doesn't give a fuck. Like he does not want to be there.
Because I feel like him and Jay Wall, like interestingly enough, like I know Jay Wall is coming from an Achilles injury. That I feel like is the perfect point guard for him.
It's nice. It's nice. He's not going to play much. That's the sad thing with like Wall and Boogie. It's like exciting, but also like they're going to each miss like half the season. But yeah, Wall's a nice pairing with him. Like Wall in his prime, totally. Just not in his prime anymore.
No, I feel like Wall now because I feel like Wall in his prime would have done too much, kind of like the
you think
Brody.
so? I see what you mean.
But Wall will try to do less because he knows Harden's here.
I know what you mean.
But I don't think he'll give it a shot. What do you?
I see what
let's
you're
say
saying.
You're the GM of any team. Who are you
Dude,
calling?
what are the Nuggets doing? Sorry.
Dude, we're
What's the score?
getting wrecked. I have the same thing up.
Dude,
And
oh my god.
I follow a couple ringer guys on Twitter, and somebody just said anybody who's being guarded by MPJ has the green light. So I guess he's getting absolutely cooked.
MPJ just put up one of the worst 3-point attempts I've ever seen. Absolutely bricked it. We're down by 9. The game's over. Dude, the Kings ended this game on like a 25-5 run.
Yeah, we got smoked there at the end.
Yo, the Kings have our number, dude. Didn't they beat us the other day?
Yeah.
We
Buddy Hield
lost twice to them.
tipping.
Damn.
I'm salty. I bet way too much money on this game.
Did you put the $50?
Yeah, I did, even though Adi told me to wait. But I just thought, nah, even without Jamal, we're better than the Kings.
Dude.
I mean, Jamal,
brutal beat.
bro, I mean, to be fair, in the first game, he was basically without Jamal.
Yeah,
Where the
that's
hell was
true.
he?
That's true.
But Jokic was balling. We were looking great. When Jokic is not on the floor, we look horrible this whole year.
Dude, who is Jokic's backup? Can somebody tell me?
Hardenstein.
Yeah, he's awful.
Oh, is he terrible?
He's just so bad.
We're gonna miss Plumlee.
I need you to have some positivity about this team. This team's gonna win the finals this year.
Dude, I need MPJ to go to a defensive clinic and just study.
Dude, he won't.
I do think that
doable.
He has gotten slightly better. I think he has went from like genuine defensive liability, like I'd rather than being guarded by nobody, to like, oh, okay, he's learned just a little bit. That is encouraging though. Like I understand that's like grasping at straws, but like I think he's understanding the game a little bit better. I think it will come. I do. I see it from him. I think it will come. All right, I'm turning this game off. I can't watch this anymore.
I hope so. But dude, MPJ looks like Duncan Robinson out there, let's be honest. And David, you have a relationship with MPJ that goes back all the way to college.
Yeah,
Mizzou,
dude, me
right?
and him hung out every single weekend.
But
I can
honestly,
call him up right now. What's up, Mike?
Wait, actually?
No.
No, dude, he's fucking with you.
Yeah,
I don't know.
actually,
I don't know David's life,
no,
bro.
he asked me to show up to the rec one day, and I said, "Yeah, I'll give you some one-on-one action." And I yammed on his head, and then that's why he got hurt actually and stopped playing. It was it.
Yeah, you broke his back.
Yeah, dude, I did. I popped his hip out of place when I dunked on him.
Addy, just so you know, David's 6'2" and he can't touch the net.
Oh, enough of that, Jesus, dude. Don't be spewing those kind of lies. I might not be able to dunk, but I can touch net.
Dude.
No, I can't touch net, dude. My vert is 12 inches.
All right, boys. Last little segment for the evening. Give me your top 5 NBA duos. Power rank them.
How do you start?
Ooh.
How about Vic starts? Big tough guy, always waiting for us to talk. Mr. Host,
fine.
Mr. Mic Stand.
All right, I'll go. I can go. So I got 1A, AD and LeBron, only because they won last year. And I mean, they're a legit duo.
Okay.
They got the championship decorum, everything about them. 1B, KD and Kyrie, because of the potential, legit ballers.
Okay.
At 3, got Murray and Jokic. Jokic is the real deal. Murray's the real deal. I think people figured that out, and they gel so well together.
Yep.
And watching Jokic play is a treat. At number 4, I got Bam and Butler. Cuz they proved it, went to the finals, took the Lakers 6. They're legit. The numbers might not show for it. They're not putting up the production of like Murray and Jokic or like the other duos are, but that's one of those scenarios, kind of like Gobert, where their value is actually more from watching them play and how they gel and move and what they do instead of their actual numbers.
Okay.
And at 5th, I mean, it'd be just blasphemous to me to not put Kawhi and PG in there. So I have number 5, I got them.
Yeah.
Those are my 5 favorite duos in the NBA, baby.
Oh, 5 favorite or 5 best?
5 best. Sorry.
Okay. No, you're good. I like that list. That's a solid list. I think number 1 is obviously Bol and MPJ, so I'd already disagree with yours. Dude, I think my top 3 is probably 2, Jokic all 3. It's tough after that. I feel like it can go a lot of different ways. I mean, I think I'd still put Kawhi, PG, probably 4. And then 5, I want to say like Giannis and Middleton.
Ooh.
But I don't know. It's tough. There's a lot there. Like I like Jimmy and Bam. I think that's. And then I mean Doncic and KP. If KP is going to be healthy, are we forgetting it? Oh, I mean Embiid and Simmons. I guess a lot of people would probably take that as disrespect, not putting them up there.
Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. Those are like fringe top 6, 7 for me too.
Overrated. But yeah, sure.
Who? JB or JT?
No, JT. But I love JB.
What, you think JT's
I think
overrated?
JT's overrated, but we don't need. We can save that for another day. No, they're a nice duo though. I still like JT. He's nice. I just think he's overrated.
So who'd you put at number 1? You cut out the first part. LeBron, AD?
Yeah.
Addy, your turn, bro. I swear, if Dame and CJ are in there.
No, I think
damn! I can't believe I didn't say Dame and CJ. Sorry, go ahead, Eddie.
I think that's basically accurate. I mean, the only thing I don't really agree with is like that Butler Bam. I just think they're stars, but they're not duos. And I would put that same argument in Giannis Middleton. Like they're all stars like on their team, but they don't need each other to operate. Like when you watch like a Jokic Murray, like they work so well off the pick and roll, the way they feed the ball to each other, everything like that. Same with LeBron, AD, the way they play make for each other. I just think those other guys are stars on their teams, and they're the 2 best players, but do they operate in like a tandem? I don't know.
I like that take. I would agree with that.
That's a good point. So who are you swapping out and putting in? Taking Jimmy Bam out, or are you swapping? Are you taking Kawhi and PG out too? Because I know you like slandering on Kawhi.
Yeah, I mean, I think that applies there. They don't necessarily use each other. They're just two offensive players on that team who are the top 2 options. I don't really know who else I would put in there.
Sorry, I cut you off. I'm really bad with that.
No, go ahead.
I just wanted to slip in. I think to your point, you could put Jokic and Jamal too. Like if that's the exact criteria, I mean, I think they're 2 personally.
Oh, with the criteria Addy just said, like gelling together kind of deal.
Yeah, like then they proved it. They've already proved it, and like the way they gel, their 2-man game is when it's at its height is amazing.
All right, boys. You guys got what's the finals prediction? Lakers over who?
I'll
Nets?
go Lakers over Bucks. How about that? Why not?
How many games?
We'll see. 4.
A sweep? A sweep in the finals?
No. I don't know. I don't think so. Lakers, Bucks. Why not? I'm gonna regret that Bucks pick. Lakers in 5.
How do you?
I'll be the contrary here, I guess, for the Eastern Conference. I got Lakers, Nets.
Ooh,
Lakers in 7.
Damn.
I like it. That'd be fun. Lakers Nets would be fun.
I also like the KD versus LeBron, and I'll go Nets. Actually, I just don't think Lakers will pull through this year. For some weird reason.
Oh, okay. Extra contrarian right there. Like it.
They got all eyes on them. So we'll see how that.
It's gonna be Nuggets
up.
over Magic. It's my official pick. Nuggets
Magic
3.
Magic are fire.
Hey, they're the only undefeated team left in the NBA. Put some respect on their name.
Oh God.
Who do they play tomorrow so I can bet against them?
Vucevic is balling. I'm joking, but like Vucevic is the man. He deserves respect.
I got him on my fantasy ball team. Also, have you guys ever played fantasy basketball?
Yeah.
No, I think it's too much work.
Exactly. Way too much work. I can't check that frequently. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, dude. I'm figuring. All right. Last little thing. Who's your ride or die for this year NBA gambling? Are y'all picking the Nuggets and riding through the entire season, and what are we doing here?
Well, no.
Dude,
trying to make some money.
I've already lost. Like
my NBA thing is that I think it's too difficult to predict. Like, I think spread betting is hard because on any given night, like you feel like the other night, Bucks were like -12 versus the Knicks, and then they ended up losing by 20. Like, what the fuck is that? So I'm trying to find like teams that are defensively challenged, and I'm betting overs. You can catch me betting the Atlanta Hawks over every time because Trae Young just runs like there's no tomorrow, man. I swear to God, it's a dead ball, and he just takes it and sprints no matter where his teammates are.
I love it.
He tries and scores.
Good shit.
That's smart betting advice, especially in a 72-game season when every single game is a crapshoot. Like, you have no idea what's going to happen. First game of season, Nuggets Kings, I was like, yeah, Nuggets will win. Oh, Jamal's over under is 19. And then he goes 1 of 9 and we lose. So, like,
yep.
No, that's true. I feel like all teams are just like coasting out, like they're just using the first 20 games as a little like mini preseason, and they'll actually hit in a gear.
Yeah, that's what you hit. Fade every single team. Don't bet all. That's the advice.
Well, all right, boys. Thank you for the sizzling takes and coming back on the pod. It was great to have you both. And happy gambling. Let's make some fucking money and go Nuggets.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for having us.